I don't know what to get. What are you getting?
Something with rice. I feel like a little spice tonight.
Should I get that?
I don't know. What do you feel like?
I don't know.
Well, before you choose your utensil, you've got to know what you're going to eat. Buying a snowboard is a lot like eating Chinese food. Before you grab your silverware, you've got to know what you're going to eat, or ride as it were. Start by figuring out your terrain, ability level, and goals.
When buying a snowboard, consider 3 basic paths. Powder, park, all mountain. Powder. It's light, floaty, magical really. You can ride it with just about any snowboard, but to make the most of it, you'll want to get a powder-specific snowboard that's got a wider tip and bindings that are set back to help you stay afloat. While powder boards are awesome in 12 inches of fresh snow, they aren't quite as versatile for the rest of the mountain. If you live in the mountains, get dumped on, are a pretty good rider, and want to spend all day in the trees and back bowls, then go with a board designed for powder.
Terrain parks now have features for just about every ability level. If you know you want to spend your days riding switch, hitting jumps, and grinding rails, consider a park board. Park boards tend to be a little more flexible, shorter, have a centered stance, and a twin shape, meaning that they ride just as well switch, or backwards, as they do forwards. Since they have a softer flex, they are more forgiving on sketchy landings and easier on rails and boxes. Park boards perform pretty decent on groomers and powder, but they tend to be a little noodly for high-speed, aggressive carving, and the centered stance can make deep powder a lot of work.
All mountain boards are the spork of the snowboard world. They're good in the park, good in powder, and excellent on groomers. Most riders are content on this board since its versatility allows exploration of the whole mountain. They tend to be on the stiffer side of the 3, have a directional shape, meaning that they are designed best riding forwards, and have a stance that's typically set just slightly to the back of center.
In the park, you may not ride as fluid switch, and you won't be able to lock onto rails as easily. In powder, you'll have to sit back a little to keep your tip up. They're fun carving boards, stable at high speeds, and generally good for most riders, including beginners. Since all mountain boards come in a variety of models, beginners should go for a more flexible and forgiving board. Advanced riders can step up to a stiffer board. Once you select your riding preference and what kind of board you're going to get, you need to figure out the right size. Most people still think that up to your chin is about the right size. Really, board size is determined by a combination of weight, boot size, and your riding style. Check the manufacturer's size chart to find out the right length range for you. Most people can actually ride 2, 3, or more sizes of the same model. For reference, I'm about 190 pounds with a 9.5 boot. I ride a normal width men's board, a 160 for all mountain, a 158 in the park, and a 162 in powder.
And I'm 115 pounds with a 6.5 foot size. I ride a 145 women's board for all mountain and park and a 149 in powder. You want to make sure your heels and toes don't hang over the side. So if you've got enormous feet, sadly over about a size 10.5, you should find a board that's wider underfoot. Bring your boots to test the board width and get the narrowest board your boots will fit on.
Next, determine your ability level. Beginners should go a little shorter and softer. Advanced riders can go with a longer, stiffer board, if that's your thing. Lastly, determine the right width based on your boot size and the right length based on your weight.
Hey, what are those?
These, well, very few people can actually use them properly. They take years of practice to master, and no matter what anybody tries to tell you, they'll never be as good in powder. I mean soup.